Hi everyone, it's Karen and I'm back with my first design team project for the month of September for AngeldreamCraftsKim on Etsy. And we are doing a collaboration this month with the Etsy shop ByBoholove. And the digitals that you will see in this little journal that I've created are from her shop. There are a few little bits that I've added in that are not from her digitals, and I'll just mention them. I won't say where they're from. That's not important. I just want you to know what's in the actual papers that you can get. I will put links to Kim's shop, AngeldreamCraftsKim, in the description box below. I will put links to ByBoholove, her Etsy shop, and also these papers that we are using, which are called Shabby Rose, I believe. Her papers are beautiful. It's a paper line with a lot of ephemera pieces and also some lovely full page pieces and then some smaller page pieces as well. So there's a lot to offer in the kit. And I will try and insert some photos right here so you can have a look at the papers, what they look like when I first copied them off the printer. One of the things I wanted to do with this project was also, because we're doing a collab with the digitals, I wanted to show you that there are a lot of ways to print digitals. I print them on regular photocopy paper. I use a higher quality copy paper. I use also a photo quality paper. I've printed on vellum, tracing paper, whatever you want to call it. I also printed on some rice paper and I printed on fabric. So 6 different types of mediums that you can use to print on and show you how versatile digital printing can be. I'm a big fan of digitals. I have quite a collection of digitals from a variety of Etsy sellers and I love them. So let's dive into this. As I mentioned, I've done some little sneaky peeks and mentioned before, I did a waterfall journal and I used envelopes. So here is my waterfall. This is the back envelope. The next one, there's one in here with the pink trim on it. This is one with some white trim. This is another one with the beige trim. And then this is the front one with this pretty white trim. So I will go through and show you. And at the very end, if anyone's interested, I will show you a quick sort of walkthrough of how you put it together. And I will also link the video that I saw that inspired me. Hers is a little bit different than what I created, but it was the inspiration for this, and I will give her credit for that and leave her video in the description box below. So right away, you're going to see this beautiful piece hanging out the bottom here. This is one of those little pendant pieces that Kim included in my design team package. This is a circular one. And what I did was I took a piece of the one of her digitals from ByBoholove, and it is a full sheet with this beautiful pink rose print on it. This is printed on fabric, and I will show you elsewhere where I use fabric. So I had this tiny little piece. I just used my 1-inch punch to punch into the fabric to give me an outline. Then I cut it out with my scissors and I glued it in here with just my art glitter glue, and it glued in beautifully. It's nice and secure in there and it feels nice. You can feel the fabric to your thumb and the really nice blingy around the edge, and I've attached that to the strings in the center of this little journal, and it looks real pretty hanging out the bottom there. And since we're at the bottom, this is another one of the beautiful laces that was in my design team package, one of the flat laces, and that I used here. This was a trim that was in my design team package. It had all these beautiful 3D flowers, and then it had the leaves and these little green flowers as well. And so I put one in each of these corners on the front of the journal here. And I added some of my own bling in the center. I just wanted to stick with a bit of a goldy bling and a sort of a neutral color that added a pop of sparkle there, along with the beautiful little sparkles that are on the leaves on this. I think in my design team package, I thought I think I honestly thought they were sequins, but they're actually little sparkle pieces. This is a beautiful trim, one of my favorites. Kim's had this on a restock, and I love this trim. It's just such a pretty little flower with the leaves, and so I put a piece here, and I ran a piece up here and along the top. And then on the spine, it's a small spine. Again, when I show you the construction, I'll show you how you create the spine. It's really created when you put the envelopes together. It's not an actual spine. And I've just got leaves and that coming down. I'll show you the back when we get to it. I've tied it closed with just a piece of mesh ribbony stuff that I have that has an iridescent flower on it. I really liked how it didn't cover up the front here that is all these beautiful papers. This is an envelope, and there is a window there with the papers coming through as well, and we'll get to that when we start flipping through. On the side here, with the bow, I just attached on another one of those pretty 3D flowers from Kim's trim. Such a pretty trim, and it went beautifully with these papers, the sort of rosy and the gold. And I've just used a gold ball pin, and Kim has the ball pins in her shop too, and I've just attached it there to the ribbon, so it can be removed or left. It doesn't affect the closure, it's just an added piece. So we'll just remove that and take it to the side, and here she is. So what I did, the first envelope is a smaller one that I just used as an extra little flip here for more added just added character and that to the front, and it just flips open. You can see her gorgeous papers. I did add a butterfly there from my stash. The bottom of the page here has Kim's beautiful apricot-y colored trim. That trim from the front, of course, is really on the second envelope that's here, and this little piece has collaged papers all on it. And I did use a little piece that I had, and I forget what these are called, but I had this in my stash, and it just fit really pretty on here and had the roses, so I added that to the front. But these are her, I think this is one of the journal cards that I used on the front here. And the edge of this, although you can't see it much here, but you can see it on the back, this is the fabric, the same fabric that I used to put in here, which is a printout of her digitals, and I used that as my binding on the edge here. So I just cut a 1-inch piece from the paper that I printed on, or from the fabric that I printed on, and then I used that, and I frayed it out a bit and added that onto the edge of this little waterfall journal. And so each of the envelopes, which this is what this is here, they're a wider business size envelope, but I also did cut them down. I didn't use their full length. So that's why it has a wider look to it than maybe if you use normal size envelopes. And each one, I kept the window and formed up, there's a pocket in the top, and each one is fully lined inside with more of her beautiful papers. All the papers you see here are from the collection, and except the little perfume bottle, I've added that in from my stash. And here's a piece of the fabric. Again, I used it just as part of the collage here, and it's frayed out on the edges. And then this is this is 2 of her little journal cards. I added a little topper with Kim's lace. I made a little bow again from the fabric that I created from her digital. Added one of Kim's little acrylic flowers in the center there. And then I added a little heart paper clip here. And this is one of the beautiful cards from her digitals. I've stitched, all the pieces are stitched, and the whole entire album has been stitched as well on the machine, and some of it is still visible and some not, because some of it got covered. But the reason I did that is I opened my envelopes completely, I line the insides, and then I stitch them all closed so they're nice and secure, and it's just the way I like to do it. So this is some stitching that I've done on the edge of this card, and you can see it more on the back. I added a little tab on this one to pull it out, and then this is one of the other cards. It's lined on the back with, I think it's again one of her digitals. I can't remember if it's the one with the roses or a different one. She has 3 or 4 different ones that are for backing, and then this is one of her cards that she has. and they're so pretty in this collection. You'll see them throughout the journal, and this one's been stitched as well. And that just fits very nicely into the pocket and I purposely did it with the lace on the top so that the lace did peek through here as well. It's the back of that envelope, and I've created a little pocket, created a little pocket here with one of her little ephemera pieces, again stitched all the way around the edges. 2 little pieces in the pocket. This is one of her digital pieces I printed onto vellum, and you can see some of that. You might be able to see there's some handwriting on there because that piece had some, it was like a letter. And then I backed it with just some papers I had that had these flowers on it because I thought it looked really cool through there. And stitched around the edge, added some little roses on there. The back of this page, this is one of her digitals, one of her backing type digitals, so you get a full page printout on that. This is the floral one, and I use this one a lot through here in different ways. That's the one that's printed on the fabric. It's also the one that's in the middle of the disc that's here. And then I added a lovely piece of Kim's gorgeous flat lace, the same one that's on the front. I added it on the side here. I did a little thing in the corner here with some of the leaves and a leftover little piece of that lace from the front. As I said, I never waste anything. I make little collections with them. This I added one of my little pins from my own stash and a little dangle here with a little flower and a leaf. And this, of course, is also one of her beautiful ephemera pieces. I added the butterflies on and left them with their wings flapping and added some little flat back pearls. And then this is the back, again, that gorgeous. So that is the rose one that you saw in the other one too. This is part of that paper and stitching around there too. So lots of details in here. You can see the stitching done down the side of here and a bit on the bottom here. So it is seen throughout the journal. A little bit of fuzzy yarn at the top here and one of Kim's gorgeous cabochons. That's from a previous design team package, but I always hold on to them. And this one, being a sort of roses in Paris theme, I thought the bike was so cute on there, and it had a basket of roses on it on the front of the bike. So I put that there. Now, something I did different with mine when I made it, hers is the lady that inspired me made hers just with the envelopes and nothing else. I added a little journal in here as well, and I left it very plain inside, but I want to show you the papers because that's the beautiful papers by ByBoholove. So this is one of the papers on the front here. I added again a little piece of that material that has her digital printed on. Beautiful pieces from Kim's laces just added on as accents, and a little butterfly added there. Again, one of these, which I can't think of the name of. It'll come to me maybe, but if not, you well know what they are. These were purchased from somewhere. I didn't cut these out myself. And this is her paper in the background with the beautiful pink roses, and it has like a measuring tape there and some writing and that. And then inside this one, I just did a little collage up here with some of the pink fabric, and again some of Kim's laces. And then this is part of the digitals, but this one is printed on a rice paper. You can see sort of the design in there. So it's a very pretty digital. It's got like a letter written on it and a rose in the corner. This is just some tea-dyed papers that I had in my stash, and I added those in. This is another one of her beautiful digitals. Here's another one, and here's another one here. Again, this is on the rice paper, and that makes the center of this little journal. Here's another one of her little journaling cards. I just left those joined together. That's why you can see a bit of the white on the edge here. I didn't take them apart from each other on the print when I printed it out. This is printed on the higher quality paper that I use, and it does give a really nice print. And more tea-stained paper, another part of her digitals, and another one here, and this is still on the rice paper. And it makes for a really cute little journal here that has lots of writing space in it and some just papers to add interest and prettiness. On the back of this little journal, I added in a pocket with some of my own papers and added a little booklet piece in behind there that has this. The front cover has a piece that is printed on the rice paper again, which it has nice texture and it's pretty. It adds some interest. There's some of the ones I've shown already, but her paper line again. I've added a bunch of little ephemera pieces in here. A lot of them are not from her line, but they would be nice little pieces to have for someone. And this little journal will be for sale, and details will be in the description box, or you can contact me. In the front of this little pocket, I used 2 of her little ephemera cards. This one has like a pile of a box, and it looks like some journals and things, and another couple of those little things from my stash, and another one of her journal cards in behind. So I just created like a little pocket with those attached onto this piece of fabric-y type paper that I had in my stash. And this is the back, beautiful rose, and I actually doubled that rose so it has like a 3D effect on there as well. A little bit of Kim's laces in the corner, the pink one, and the cutout from that one of her flat laces, the same as on this side. So this is the next envelope. Again, you can see some of the stitching in the bottom corner here that I did, and here to sew the whole piece back together. Here's the binding on the edge of this one, and this is that beautiful digital, again printed on fabric, and a little bit of pink lace from Kim, and this beautiful flat lace that I love from her shop that's usually on a regular restock, and it's a flat lace about 6 inches wide, and I love to just fussy cut out those flowers. They're so pretty. Created a little bit of a tuck spot here with one of the little pieces, ephemera pieces in the digital. She has lots of lovely little pieces, little circles and tickets and stamps in that collection. Here's one of the tickets. And this is a couple of little extra pieces I had. This one, Paris, and the little perfume bottle that just went along so beautifully with this collection, which is so nice. I love when you can get digital collections that you can blend and use with your own digitals, just because they're going to just take you that much further for your purchase. Here's part of the line again at the back here, and there's also a little slant pocket that is included in the digital line, and it's there. And that's what these little things are tucked into. Here's one of her little journaling cards, again, printed on the back. This is the heavier paper that I use, and it's stitched as well. Added the little butterfly, and that goes in that little pocket. And then these go in the little tuck spot here. And then, of course, all collaged. All the envelopes are collaged. So I just ripped the papers. I did as many as I needed to copy, which is another beautiful thing about digitals. You can make as much as you need. And I just tore them and placed them all around the envelopes. So that was something I had done before I even received my laces and trims, because it's a long process to do that. But it's a lot of fun. I love collaging. And so in this envelope, I have placed a piece from my own collection, but again, it's a postcard, but it goes so beautifully with her line, which I love. And all these pieces, I just attached a piece of fuzzy on the top to pull them out of the pockets. I didn't want to take away from the waterfall effect, and although the first one has a tab on it, it doesn't take away from it. When I started to think about adding, and I added tabs to these rest of the pieces that are in the pockets, it took away from this beautiful effect that I had created with Kim's laces, and I didn't like that. So what I've done is added a little fuzzy securely onto the cards that are in the pockets, and I just fold it down the back of each one. So you still see this beautiful waterfall effect with all the different laces that I chose for the top, and each one I chose the top laces and then proceeded to do the rest of the page. This effect was very important to me, and I love how it turned out. This lace on the front, of course, there's that flat lace that I fussy cut out the flowers. This one is also one of Kim's beautiful laces, and it has these gorgeous scallops on it and these flowers. I put that on this one. This one is that pretty pink trim that I love so much that has the sparkles and things on it, and I cut out the flowers and used a lot of those there. And then starting here in the corner, used another one of her beautiful trims to go down the side. This page is another one of her gorgeous scallops. One's trim that she gave me. I think this one has a lot more going on. I can't remember exactly, but I cut part of it off, which is so nice when you have a lace to cut it into the different pieces. And I saw it for the beautiful scallop that it would create with the little flowers on the top of this page. And then this is one of her other laces, the apricot-y one with the sparkle in it, and it looked so pretty down the side. And then this one I used 3 of the beautiful leaf trim that she had included, and then some of that apricot trim down the side. And when I did the sides, I wanted some of it to stick out, of course, because it creates such a pretty, pretty look on the side. You can see from a side profile on this journal, just let me get these little pearl trim out, how pretty it is from the side as well. It's got a lot of pretty stuff going on. Back to this page, and I just wanted to show again that beautiful pearly trim is from Kim's shop, and I used that down the side of this page, and I loved how it sort of dripped down the whole side of the journal. I just thought that looked so pretty. If this was laying on a table, you would be able to see that from a side. The back of that envelope, again, you can see a lot of the stitching here on the back. I didn't embellish both sides. I'm front very embellished, back lightly embellished, and therefore you get to benefit from the beautiful stitching that's been done. This is one of the pockets from the digital line, and one of the tickets, and just a little piece that I just tore out of the papers. And I created a tuck with that, and I tucked in all these gorgeous pieces. These are all from her line. Isn't that just gorgeous? That journal card with that bucket of roses on there. It's just so pretty, and they're all been backed. They're on the stiffer paper that I print on. I think this is the photo quality one. It's almost like more like a lightweight cardstock, and it's stitched around the edge. And there's her papers in the background. There's part of one of the letters that's in there, and then again the pink one. So tuck that one in there, and then this is another one. And again, they're all lined on the back, and this is another one. I think this one I cut down a little bit smaller. It's more the size of that one. I just cut it down. I put a little bit of washi on the bottom to add that into there. And then this is another one that she has. And they're not backed so much as they're copied on both sides, because that's another thing you can do with digitals is you can, copy on both sides. When you're running them through your printer, just flip it over, and I have to flip mine. Some printers probably are fancier and do it differently, but I flip mine over and then just print on the other side. In the digitals as well were these beautiful envelopes. This one I printed on a vellum or tracing paper. I love the sound. I love how it turned out. It's got that beautiful tea-stained look, but that is the way the digital is made. Beautiful digitals. And then I filled it with some of her digital, or the ephemera that she included. That one with baby shoes. This one with roses and books. And this one, again, you saw at the beginning, but I added those all in here for whoever has this journal to have extra journaling spot. Or the other day I gave a baby gift to someone, and I printed this one out on cardstock, and I folded it and I made it into a little card that I enclosed with the baby gift. So cute. And then just in the back of here, just for fun, I printed just a letter that I had of my own onto some rice paper. Just added that in there, and then there's another one. That's that card again. I repeated several of them throughout because they're absolutely gorgeous, and I know that they would make really nice enclosures for gifts and also just to journal on if that's what you want. This, I created just this little piece on the front here with a piece of the flat lace that my design team package was wrapped in. I just fussy cut out a piece, put it on the edge here, and I did a beautiful little rose wax seal myself, and then you just tuck this underneath behind the wax seal, and you have a perfect little envelope. And I just set that in here so it can be removed or it can be left in. And then on this side, it is completely decked out with her beautiful digitals. This one is from another, is not from that line, but this beautiful piece on the front here is. And then I made a little flip open piece that can be written on the inside, and that's part of the digitals. And instead of cutting them apart, I just left them together when I printed them out, and then added a piece of Kim's lace down the middle of that, and that tucks in behind the envelope. So there's a lot going on with this little envelope that's tucked in here. And of course, a crowning piece. I have a beautiful piece of Kim's. That's the same lace that goes with this one up here. I cut a piece out and I added one of her pretty little hearts that look like they have like crushed sugar on top. They're so cute. This page, and as you can see with the waterfall journal, each envelope is cut so that it causes that waterfall effect. So as you go to the back, they're getting a bit bigger. This one, again, beautiful fabric used by creating it from her digital down the side. Beautiful lace from Kim's shops, and her little acrylic bling and her little heart there. And some butterflies from my stash, some little bits from my stash as far as extra little rose piece here, and some of the fuzzies. And then I had a little piece of that beaded piece from here, because when you cut it, you sometimes lose a few of the beads. So I just kept them, and I created just a little dangle here and added some little butterflies on it. There's a little tiny acrylic butterfly on the bottom and one at the top. Those are from my stash. And then in this, if you pull on this one, you will get this beautiful lady that comes out from behind the envelope here. And she's a big digital card. Again, each one, when you pull the cards out, is completely finished inside with something very pretty that shows through the window of the envelope. And here she is. She's stitched all around. Again, very, very pretty journaling card. That little bit of trim at the top, and again, the pink background paper on the back. And I just get her right there in the window, and then fold that over the back. This side, I added, on this side I forgot to mention, I had added some of that. I had those two collar pieces from my design team package. I cut them all apart, and I've used one on each side of this page, and I alternated them. You've got the scallops showing through on both sides, a little bit of fuzzy. And then on this side, you see that again coming through. And this is a very vintagey looking piece, probably is vintage. I didn't keep track of all the things that Kim sent me as to whether they were vintage or not. I really encourage you to go over to the shop. She has everything perfectly laid out and perfectly labeled so that you'll know exactly when you're purchasing a vintage piece. You can also message her if you have any questions, or you can leave questions or comments below my video as well. So on this page, I made a bit of a flip. I used, again, one of her pieces of her ephemera pieces. I printed it onto, I have to look for a minute because sometimes it's hard. I printed this on the rice paper. So it's thin, it's more like, it feels more like fabric, but I made a little flip with it. I added some rose washi tape around the perimeter of it to give it a little bit more stability. I added a piece from my stash in the center, again, just to add to it. It had some writing on it, and I didn't want that right there. So this is how you can use pieces of digitals and change them up a little bit. It's all the flowers and the blue that you see around the edge is part of her paper line. And I flipped that up, and in the background is this gorgeous part of her digital that creates a really pretty background piece. This would be easy to write onto, especially with a black pen. Added some fuzzy from my stash, a little bit of a rose from my stash. I mean, anything rose and butterflies went with this line beautifully. So if you love roses or butterflies or Paris themed, this is the kit for you. Another one of her ephemera cards, and I just stitched around the edge of it. I added some of that pretty blingy, meshy that Kim had sent me in my design team package. It matches up over here, and you'll see that with all my pages. I kind of tie one page that's facing each other. I tie it into the other with a little bit of the same trim. A couple more of her pretty, this one I think you've seen already. You may have seen this one as well. Like I said, they're so pretty. I just kept repeating them because they look different in different parts of the journal. I created a little pocket at the bottom here with some of the fabric. I remember I printed out the fabric on a regular piece of fabric paper that I purchased to use in my printer, and so it's like a full sheet, and I used that and cut it up to make all the bits that you see in here. I used nearly every little piece of it. So this piece, I frayed it out and I used it here to create like a pocket. So these little things go in the pocket. This little bit of trim trims the top of that pocket out. This is one of the little pieces that's circles that's in the line, and I just left this one attached to its backing and created like a little secret little journaling spot there, or just simply a little spot, and added a little bit of trim on the side of that. And then this flips up and this flips down, so it creates like this whole little cute little area there with really hidden journaling in behind. And I added this pretty paper clip from my own stash because it just helps hold that in place so it's not flipping around. And this little butterfly's from my own stash as well. Here is the center. Here are the strings. I added some pretty crackled pink beads from my stash and a little bow there with a pearl to create the whole little piece here that is the center with that gorgeous piece from Kim's shop. This page again is completely collaged, the envelope itself. Then I did the laces and trims over top, so we've done that beautiful mesh trim with the sequins and the pink flowers, the pink and green one down the side here. I added some flat back pearls. This is all collaged here of her papers, all that you can see. The butterflies are from my stash, and all the butterflies have some kind of little bling or pearls added to them. I did another wax seal here. This one says love. Added another little perfume bottle here and a couple of roses. And then this is one of her journaling cards from the line. I think this one I've cut it down a little narrower because I wanted it to fit right here. And that's fun because all hers allowed some to be able to cut smaller or skinnier to fit in your little pockets if you wanted to. Added a little bit of that pretty trim there and stitched around the edge of it, and that fits in there. And then in this pocket, again with the fibers to pull it out, this is one of her beautiful, this is the same, she has a few of them in these colors with the border like on this page, but this is one here, and I've added a rose and a butterfly and then one of her little labels on the front of it to give it more texture and more interest, stitched around the whole edge, and then added that little bit of fibers there. And again, the back is easy to write on, but it has that pretty pink, which was obviously one of my favorites as far as her backing papers go. And then of course this is fully lined as well, so even if you took this out, you still have something pretty in the window. Always have something pretty in the window to look at. There's 6 envelopes in total throughout the journal from front to back, and of course front and back of each of them. So here's the back of that one. Again, you can see that pretty pink fabric digital that I created and I used to join the envelopes together. You can use whatever you want. You could use fabric like I did. You could use washi. You could use paper and just glue them together. And I'll show you that when I show you the construction at the end if you're interested. And so this page again is all collaged. You can see this is a background paper. This is the pink. This is one of her journaling cards, another piece here, a little piece with numbers, letter on it. This is one of the tickets here. I used it as a tuck spot. I used just a little paper doily from my stash here for another tuck spot. This is from her line, the number. And so that's on. And then this little piece I created by printing on tissue paper. And I added this rose in the center and the butterfly, but the actual pretty digital in the back is hers. The little piece of lace is from Kim's shop. That's the one. I have it on the side of the page here as well. It has the apricot and the iridescent ribbons in it. This one I just tied it with a bit of fibers, and I just added page inside, so it turns out to be a little booklet. And these are all her page. This is from her digitals, and then that's the back side of that one and back side of another one. So a little booklet tucked in there, and then another one of her pretty cards stitched on this, and then my butterfly added from my stash, and I just tucked that in there. So lots of places to add things. If you wanted to take some of the ephemera out and add your own things in, you could. Second envelope, I did a second one. I love the first one so much. This one is printed on the heavier paper that I use, and I also stitched on a coffee dyed of tracing paper, and so it has some sound to it, and it just has a nice weight to it, this envelope. And again, added in this one has a little scrappy booklet in it of some of my own tea-dyed papers and things, and one of her pretty journaling cards on the front. You could take this envelope and add anything into it you wanted and give it to someone as with a gift card, and it would be a beautiful gift. Again, one of my wax seals that I've created, and this one has the rose on it again. And the envelope is fully stitched, you can see that. And on here, I just added another one of her little cards, her journaling cards, but I cut it to fit there with the doily underneath, kind of a layering effect on there. I added this little heart paper clip. It's not really necessary, but it's pretty. And on the back side is the doily and one of her little circles from the line. Just added that in there. Just all interest, things to look at. And then coming down to the last two envelopes, there's a lot of detail in here, so sorry if the video is long, but I will edit it to the best of my ability. But to show you all the beautiful papers and what I've put it together here, it takes a little bit of time. So again, that beautiful part of that trim is at the top here with another little bow made from the fabric from the digital, and then a little bit of fuzzy and one of Kim's pretty little pink acrylic pieces. Added some butterflies, made a bit of a tuck spot here using some of the ephemera pieces and just some cut or torn pieces. Created a little bit of a dangle here with some fuzzy and another little piece. It's a floral, another one of my pins, and another one of those pretty little acrylic butterflies. And then tucked in here is one of her journaling cards, again cut down so it's a little narrower and stitched, and it goes in there. So there's lots of room in this one to tuck more of your own goodies in. It's got quite a bit of tucking space in there. And then in this one, just get a hold of the fibers and give it a tug. And in this one, you can see it's fully lined with some of her beautiful digitals. And this one I created a little, like a waterfall little booklet. And this is her digital here. This is a piece of my own with the Eiffel Tower on it and butterfly, but it created this pretty collage on the front of here. And then that's one of her papers as well. And you've seen these throughout the book. I just added in a piece at the top and then one of those at the bottom to give me the length I needed. And then, oops, little bend in that one. Another piece on the back. There we go. And that one is meant to partially show the Eiffel Tower showing through there, from there. And then on this side is a pocket created with part of the paper line, some roses. This is the stamps that are in the collection. They're so pretty too, and they're great for using for tuck spots. And I just included all three of those in there. Another one of the little journaling cards, and everything is stitched except the stamps I didn't stitch. And then this is a bigger one in the back here. And you've seen these, I've reused them many times, but I've just always done them a little bit different with different butterflies. And of course the stitching, and this one has a different paper on the backing. And this one, the paper didn't fit all the way to the edge, but with the stitching, I thought it still looked really nice. And then the back of this is collaged again with the fabric, and this is actually on paper, and this is one of the pieces too. So there's lots of things, like I say, lots going on with little details in this little journal. This is the last envelope and the back page. And this has the beautiful leaves, as I mentioned before, across the top. Beautiful collage all on. This is all her digitals. There's such pretty colors in this, with the little bit of blue and the pink and the tea stained, and even the little bit of darker red coming out in these roses. And the numbers she's included. She's included a lot of things that really, really make it nice. Kim's beautiful apricot lace. I added some of my own little florals in here. Little acrylic flowers, and this is her beautiful flat lace at the bottom, the one that I cut up on the other page. This is a more larger piece of it, or along the bottom here. This is a little tuck piece that I made and I showed in one of my other videos, making the little embellishments that you can use as tuck spots or as on the side of a page to decorate. This one, I really loved it. I thought it fit here. It has that pretty perfume bottle on it and really reminds me of, you know, roses and female, very feminine. So I added in this beautiful lace of Kim's. I brought it all the way down, incorporated it in with the pink lace that was already on it, which is also from Kim's shop. This beautiful lace with the sequins on it. Was one of her bridal trims she had in both pink and white, and so that was already on there. I just brought the apricot-y pink trim down and onto this as well, and that's what I usually do. You know, you incorporate those things together afterwards to make them fit into a journal. And so this is a beautiful tuck spot here, and behind this one I made up another little scrappy book to go in there. Again, this one's just all like paper that from a music book, and easy to write on, and just made a cute little cover there and back. And some of Kim's lace, again, a piece of this, it was part of a lace, and again that apricot-y trim, one of the little tickets on the front, that's sewed down, and this is all sewn around as well. So it fits really nicely in there and adds to that page. And I kept the word Paris. I think this is probably one of my favorite pages, this together. And then this is the back. And I created a flower in the corner here with one of Kim's beautiful laces that I received. If you look back at my design team video, you'll see which one this is. I've taken 2 of the scallops and formed a flower, added another floral from this trim. It's the bigger flower, and then one of the smaller ones in the center, and then one of her pink acrylic flowers. I've added some of that beautiful beigey lace in here, and again that beautiful lace with this beautiful scallopy piece on it, and the flowers I've sort of cut and rearranged those. I've added 2 of the digitals on here. They are all stitched and then glued down onto the back cover, and more of the leaves added in because they look I just want to show you how beautiful they look on the edge of a page, but how beautiful they look tucked behind a flower as well. Just so pretty. And then of course you can really see that trim as it comes from the front and sort of sweeps around and over the little bit of a binding that is created there. And this beautiful 3D rose colored trim is just gorgeous. And I just love how she turned out. It was just so much fun working with the beautiful digitals and combining them with Kim's gorgeous laces and trims. They really, really match beautifully together. Check out Kim's shop. Please check out all the designers. They have already posted videos with their designs. I am running late all this month. That seems to be my MO now. Maybe it's something to do with something that happened to me after my surgery. I don't know, because I've never been late in my life, and suddenly now I'm late for everything. This is for sale. You'll get details in the description box below. I also will be adding in, I made a beautiful little envelope out of tracing paper, and I just lined it with a regular piece of paper. I stitched it all, added some trims and pieces that were still laying on my desk. Tied it, I filled it with some ephemera pieces, which will be a surprise for whoever. This is the gift with purchase. And it's a really cute envelope, could easily be reused. And then I've attached a handmade flower on it with just a bunch of bits that I had on my desk, and some of them you'll recognize because they're from the actual pieces that I used in the kit in this particular journal. And then a beautiful stick pin that I've created with some beads and acrylic pieces, so it's a little angel, and that will all be gift with purchase. And I know this video is really long. I'm sorry that it's so long, but I hope that you enjoyed seeing this beautiful little journal, and I hope you will go check out all the other designers and see the pretty projects that they have created. Check out Kim's shop. It's a beauty. She stocks some of the most beautiful things. You will not be disappointed with anything that you receive. When you purchase from her shop, check out ByBoholove and buy some digitals. They're very affordable and they're beautiful digitals. And I hope you were all doing well. Thank you. Thank you for your support, and take care. I will see you all soon. Bye for now. For those of you that wanted a quick tutorial, these are regular size envelopes I've used here. Remember the ones I used, I mentioned this is a business size envelope. So whatever envelope you choose will affect the size. This would be a more narrow waterfall journal, but still would be very cute. And you could add in the extra little journal like I did, or tuck in the envelopes like I did. And so what you want to do is, I had 6 envelopes as I mentioned, and you want to cut each one down a little bit shorter than the previous one. Trying to think of what I used. I used a 1/2 inch as my marker. Sometimes I've heard some use a 1/4 inch. I like the way it looks for 1/2 inch, just because too, if you use laces, it allows more of that lace to be seen. If you're not using laces, then you might want to do just a 1/4 inch between your pages. And then once you have your envelopes, and I opened my envelopes right up, so they are opened up completely, so that I can line them. This one's not so bad because it's white inside, but I would still line this in front of where the window is, and then afterwards I can stitch that. I can stitch along the top if I want, with it open like this, or just stitch down the sides, however you like, or just re-glue them. Or if you don't mind fiddling, you can leave the envelope closed like this one, and you can just glue by pushing your paper down in place and getting it to cover that window. I just find that really awkward, and so I don't choose to do it that way. Now you're ready. You've got all your sizes selected, and I have pre-done some of them because otherwise it's just take too long. But you have to put them together to create your spine. So there are other ways that you could do this as well. I just like this idea this lady had. I thought it was quite cool. So you take your front envelope and your back envelope and you put them together. And I used washi here because it was really simple. In my journal here, I used a piece of fabric. You could also use just a piece of paper, and it's about 1 inch wide, and I put 1/2 inch to the front, 1/2 inch to the back. That creates that first one. Then you take your second envelope from the front, because you want to keep your waterfall effect, right? So you've got your second envelope now, and your 5th one from the back, and you put those two together exactly the same way. You put your washi or your fabric or your paper down there, and that gives the 2nd and 5th pages. And then you're going to do your last 2, which will be your 3rd page and your 4th page, and you'll do exactly the same thing. And I will show you on these ones just to be able to show you exactly how I did it. Washi is forgiving. You can, reposition it if you want to. Glue and paper, not so much. So depending on, what you like to do, make sure when you glue them together, you flip this way, because that you want to keep it in the right orientation. I'm just going to lay my tape down here. And then I'm going to put the back one on first because it's a little bit longer, and I want to make sure, and I go about halfway and wash. I don't worry about, do I have that exactly right? Because most of the time I cover a lot of that with laces and stuff. And then I just want them to meet there. I want them to fold, and so it will fold over can just let that piece of tape fold over, and the same on the bottom. I was very generous. I wouldn't normally not pull off that much washi, but there you go. And then at the top here, where you have your piece come along here, and you have varying heights because of your waterfall, you just give that a little cut, and then that opens up beautifully. You can leave that extra piece there and just trim it off. So now you have that one put together, and then that fits in there, and that fits in there. And now you can see you have your perfect waterfall. I don't worry about if my envelopes, I like these ones to be fairly close in size. I don't mind if the front one's a little shorter, because I often, like if I run lace here, then it's gonna show as well on the front cover like this one did. So I don't mind that this one's slightly shorter. And they don't all have to have windows either. Can't remember, did I get all windows this time? Sometimes I don't. And I don't also care what's on the envelopes because I'm collaging on them, and that's all going to be covered. So that's not a big deal. And then when you're ready, you find your center. So you've got 3 pages in the front, 3 in the back, and you just do you could just run a stitch down because it's not very many pages, you could just run this on the sewing machine. You could hand stitch it. I did a single pamphlet stitch on there, which there's lots of tutorials on that if you're not familiar, but I'm sure you probably are familiar with the single pamphlet stitch. But you also easily could run that down your machine and do it on the sewing machine too. And then, like I said, when I finish collaging on a page like this, I collage on the back to make sure, and I often collage at the top so that when you're pulling things in and out, this is a little thicker, more sturdy, and also you don't see that right at the top. Then I would stitch this closed and stitch along the bottom too, just to give it that stitched look that I like. But you don't have to do that either. You could also just glue. But that's how you create that simple waterfall journal with a bunch of used envelopes, and get out your scraps and collage on them and make something really pretty. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below, and I will be sure to answer them for you. And thanks for stopping by. Bye for now.